to Detroit. Temperatures as low as 1 below 0 here today, but it's a perfect post-holiday season setting for college football. We're glad to welcome you to the Quick Lane Bowl as a part of Capital One Bowl Mania, the first meeting between the Duke Blue Devils out of the ACC, a record of 6-6 in the regular season, and Rod Carey's Northern Illinois Huskies out of the MAC with a record of 8-4. So glad to have you here with us today. Mike Cousins and Ray Bentley, Allison Williams will join us from the field as well. It's a very familiar setting here at Ford Field for NIU. They played here now 7 out of the last 8 years. Now Duke, to get here, had a little bit of a rocky road. They started off 4-0, and then things got tough.
Yeah, then depression set in basically as they lost their next 6 in a row. And that 4-0 start was really something for them. I mean, they came out, they beat a Northwestern team, but then they had to play their ACC schedule, and things got a little different. They lost 6 in a row, but 4 of those by only 7 points, and 1 of them by 5 points. They had to win their last 2 against Georgia Tech and Wake Forest. They only were given an 11% chance to do it, but they pulled through, and that's why the Blue Devils are here today.
David Cutcliffe has them in their most successful bowl era in school history. NIU didn't make it to the MAC championship game this year. They picked up a big win against Nebraska to start the year, and their defense was the strong point of their team throughout the year, including one guy at defensive end.
Right, Sutton Smith. He's an All-American, and he is one of the best pass rushers you'll ever have the pleasure of seeing. And they love to put him on the edge and basically send him into the backfield to create mayhem. Don't give him a lot of responsibilities other than getting after the quarterback, and boy, can he do that. He's one of those guys that keeps his feet rolling all the time. Just a young player, and he's going to be good down the road. And they've got another young player on offense that they're going to need to be good down the road, and that's their quarterback, Marcus Childers. He ended up starting 7 games this year, had a 5-2 record, and he throws the ball extremely well. And as you might expect from a Husky quarterback, he's a very good runner. Coach compared him to Drew Hare. I asked him Jordan Lynch. He said, no, not quite there. But we'll see how he does here tonight, the young quarterback getting it done.
In the case of Northern Illinois, as they get set here to start against Duke, Allison Williams, that only meant more players added to the list of the injured.
Yeah, most teams are able to get healthy with the break between the end of the regular season and bowl games. For NIU, simply not the case, as they will have to take the field without 3 senior offensive weapons. Their leading rusher, Jordan Huff, will not play today following ankle surgery. Tight end Shane Wyman out with turf toe. Also, receiver and return man Chad Beebe will not play with abdomen injuries. These 3 guys have combined for almost 1,500 yards. They've scored 14 touchdowns. I just spoke to head coach Rod Carey. He said we lose a lot of explosiveness and our best route runner, but the guys that have to step up have played all year. This is their time. He said tonight we'll get a preview of next year's offense.
All right, Allison, well, for the 46-year-old from Madison, Wisconsin, today a big one after starting his coaching career 23 years ago outside of Minneapolis in high school football. Blue Devils winners of the toss. They defer. And so the kick is up. DJ Brown and Jalen Embry back deep. And here comes Brown without Beebe on the kickoff return team. And he's out to the 19-yard line, where Marcus Childers and the Huskies offense take over first.
And Childers, as I mentioned at the top of the show, very accurate with the short passing game. The one place he hasn't quite developed it yet, at least from watching him on tape, is that deep ball. And they're going to need to throw it down the field against this Duke defense here this afternoon.
Offense this year under Childers, averaging 30 points a game, 49th best in FBS. As you mentioned, he can run it, and so they start out empty backfield and allow him a chance to scamper as he goes out to the 23.
Yeah, that's just get your young quarterback a hit right away so he can shake the butterflies, quarterback draw out of the empty set, spread him out, and see what the youngster can do. I think they're really going to miss Jordan Huff today, their top running back, and it'll be on Trey Harbison and Marcus Jones to pick up that slack.
They play with multiple tight ends and like to move them around quite a bit. There with one in the backfield to throw to another tight end, and that's off the hands of Daniel Crawford, the redshirt sophomore from here in Michigan.
Yeah, and you mentioned they get all those tight ends in there, and then they like to shift and move them around, and that can create issues for the defense. A lot of times they'll end up with an unbalanced line when they get into those situations, and defense has to go through the mental gymnastics to figure out, okay, who do I have and which gap do I have? Because those things change quickly when they shift.
3rd down and 6. A 4-man rush from the Blue Devils, and the throw to the sticks intended for Blake goes incomplete under strong coverage from the sophomore corner, Mark Gilbert, and it brings the punt team on the field.
And Mark Gilbert had basic glove coverage over on Blake. There was no chance for that one, and the Huskies come out and worried about this offense if they're going to be able to get something going. Missing their top runner and one of their better players, the tight end. They're going to have to figure out a way to get the chains moving here this afternoon.
Now here's Matt Ferentz, the freshman from St. Louis, averaging 41 yards a kick this year. And that punt right there sets a school record for NIU. 82nd punt of the year, the most they've had in a single season. Punt of 45 yards sets up the offense for the Blue Devils. 6-6 with Daniel Jones, another underclassman in this game at quarterback.
Yeah, the redshirt sophomore. He ended up starting last year because of an injury to Thomas Sirk, and he didn't anticipate starting then. But he made his way through that season, and he has developed during this season. Coach Cutcliffe told us he struggled during that 6-game losing streak with injuries, where a lot of guys wouldn't have even played. But Jones was able to fight his way through it and has been outstanding the last 2 games.
Wilson, the running back, came in motion. He takes the pitch and gets cut down at the ankles back inside the 30-yard line for the senior out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And that was Juwan Johnson making the tackle. Johnson's one of the playmakers on this defense. As a linebacker, had 5 interceptions. That was the 2nd most in the country for linebackers.
Hand off for Wilson. And just back to about the original line of scrimmage. So the opening drive brings up 3rd down and long here for Duke. Passing situation for the Blue Devils. 9 different players for them with at least 10 catches this season. Jones is back to throw. Relatively low amount of pressure. And he throws across the middle. Chris Taylor, who got just past the sticks to help pick up a 1st down.
They did a great job of protection, and they doubled Sutton Smith from the edge. Didn't allow him to get anywhere near Jones. And then he split those defenders and threw a nice little pass. And they moved the chains on a 3rd and long.
And Ray, that's something that Sutton Smith, number 15 in the red and black, is going to expect to see a lot.
At the top of the screen on this play.
But he's just basically gotten used to that. He's kind of a film study rat at this point, trying to figure out ways that teams are going to try and scheme against him.
Yeah, and there's one way of looking at film where, okay, I'm looking at the schemes, but then there's you look at the individuals and their idiosyncrasies, and is their stance different in this play or that thing? He gets down to the fine, minute details, and he's able to steal a lot of good plays out of it.
Jones wants to throw. He's got another completion at the sticks. It's Taylor again, right in front of Albert Smalls.
Nice timing on this route. And that's one of the things they like about Daniel Jones. That ball comes out of his hands immediately, and he's got a whip. He can get the ball, get some steam on it, and he also throws it really well down the field.
Smith pressuring from the backside, and it forced Jones into a bad throw. He's only 6 foot 225, but a former running back and linebacker shows his speed off the line.
He is trying to find Sean Wilson, his running back, who's running a shoot route right down the seam. The safety came over, and that's why he had to pull it down, and then Sutton Smith closed in, and Jones had to throw it away. But they were trying to take a shot into the end zone there.
On the ground, here's Britton Brown. Tumbling forward toward the 30-yard line, right to the 1st down marker, and maybe a nose of the ball short.
And Brown and Wilson are pretty much interchangeable at this running back position, and there's not a whole lot of drop-off between them, and both of them are outstanding open field type runners that can make you miss.
Pretty even distribution of carries between those 2 guys as well. For Wilson, the senior, 146 carries in the regular season, and for Brown, who had the carry, the redshirt freshman, 117 carries for him.
And then Daniel Jones gets in the mix. He had 145 carries, including that last one on the sneak for the first down.
Here comes pressure up top, a bobble and a catch by Davis Copenhaver. So the tight ends getting involved on the drive with Helm and Copenhaver to get them inside the 10.
And Duke likes to go fast after they get first downs in this area of the field. Looks like they're looking over and taking their time a little bit here. They love the tight ends in this area. In the red zone, they'll throw pop passes and they'll throw quick outs to them.
Brown's the running back. Sutton Smith bear hugs him from behind.
Yeah, they did not block Smith on the edge. They had everything else blocked up on the inside. There's nowhere to go. And Wilson had to cut back right into the waiting arms of Sutton Smith.
The consensus All-American and MAC Defensive Player of the Year, leading the country in sacks and tackles for a loss.
Got fooled there.
There's some running room on the corner for the lanky 6'5" Jones, who's cut down short of the goal line by the linebacker Bobby Jones.
And that's another little wrinkle in Coach Cutcliffe's offense, having the quarterback keep the ball a lot more often down in the red zone. And that was by design. That was not a read, as he had the tight end, Copenhaver, out front blocking the way for him.
From 2 yards out, a push straight ahead. And the initial marking is short for Brown. So 4th down, just about a yard away from Pater.
And true freshman defensive tackle, Weston Kramer, number 55, is at the bottom of that pile of humanity making the play.
All right, Ray, doubled up on the tight ends to the left side here on 4th down.
Quarterback run.
You called it. 6-0 Blue Devils as Jones has his 7th rushing touchdown of the year.
And you can see it, especially the way Northern Illinois, they were playing that inside run. They had everybody jammed up in there. And guys, they get excited in this area of the field. Now, somebody had quarterback as their responsibility, but they didn't get him. And they'll be watching film later on and be having to answer why. And that was just really easy for Jones. A nice read. Great scheme and a good drive by the Blue Devils.
And to what you said earlier, from that distance, if nobody's going to go step for step with Jones, it's too easy for him. 6'5", his strides are so long.
Right, half a step and he's in.
Nice drive. They got everybody involved, and Jones takes it in to put Duke on the board first. Duke out front 6-0 over Northern Illinois back here in Detroit. Mike Cousins, Ray Bentley, Allison Williams down on the sidelines as DJ Brown takes the return out to the 19-yard line. Childers on the rollout. It has nothing to do with it except for throwing it away. Saw Christian Blake, number 4 for NIU there, as the early motion man, and that's something they do a lot, even though they may not give him the ball for the entire game.
Yeah, well, usually they'll do it as a counter punch late in the game is what I've seen him do with that. But that jet sweep look is always a threat. Defenses have to honor it. And the other thing it does, it kind of screens the vision of the linebackers in the secondary as to who's got the football. It's a nice little scheme.
Childers tucked it and got undercut by the sophomore safety, Dylan Singleton.
Yeah, that was quarterback draw all the way, and there's just nowhere to go. Singleton, the extra man in the box, came up and made the play. He got his first start of the season last week, or last time out against Wake Forest, and played really well. 9 tackles and 2 broken up passes.
3rd down and 10, trying to avoid a 3rd straight 3-and-out to start the day. And he's grabbed around the ankles and taken down back at the 10-yard line by Trayvon McSwain, who made the play from the ground.
Yeah, that was a great effort from McSwain. You know, he was basically the post guy, and the other tackle, Ramsey, was looping around him. Watch this stunt that they run. And McSwain, he's just going to get on the ground and just crawl his way up to make a sack. That's pretty good stuff.
Nice showing by the Duke defense, which is playing without Jeremy McDuffie, one of their safeties, and one of their team leaders as well. Oh, here's a fake and a throw toward the sideline, and this could be very dangerous for NIU.
Dangerous is a nice way to put it. That wasn't the smartest call I've ever seen in my life, and now the Blue Devils are set up to go ahead even more with a 7-0 lead.
He's been able to run no problem, get the throws off okay as well. Gives it off there to Wilson.
I'm still trying to get over that fake punt on 4th and 18 from your own 11-yard line. That might be the biggest bonehead play of the call of the year, and we saw Rod Carey laughing about it a little bit afterwards with somebody, but my goodness, that makes absolutely no sense on any level.
Time and score, it's certainly puzzling, and then to throw after a deep sack with a throw that didn't reach the stick certainly does raise a lot of questions. Another run through the middle. The pile gets a good push for Wilson.
I think he quite got there.
Just short again.
He gets up in behind that offensive line and got great push from their third-team All-ACC center, Austin Davis. Opened up a little bit of a seam. He almost got in there.
Tight end off to the left. Instead, a leap up top, and it's a touchdown for Sean Wilson. The senior from Charlotte makes NIU pay for a fake punt from its own end zone. The lead is 13-0 Blue Devils.
Great blocking up front by the left side of that line. The tackle, Gabe Bradner, and the guard, Julian Santos, both of them collapsed the Husky defense down, allowing Wilson to get in there for the 6.
And Holmquist for the extra point. He's got it.
And futility is the name of the game for this Husky offense so far. 3 3-and-outs. Their longest play covered 6 yards, and their furthest advance has been to their own 23.
Brown again. Takes a lick out to the 15-yard line from Dylan Singleton.
Switch to an unbalanced line here.
Trey Harbison gets the carry. No Jordan Huff today, the leading rusher on the year for NIU. 740 yards, 4 touchdowns. So they've got Harbison, Marcus Jones, and then much more lightly used Tommy Mister. And the 3 of those combined for about the same yardage as Huff and 6 touchdowns.
Jordan Huff is a special ball player if he can stay healthy. Here we go.
There's some running room for Childers. Save an ankle tackle that stopped him at the 31. Singleton again, and a burst for 13, and perhaps something going for NIU.
And they caught Duke with their 2 defensive tackles out wide. Look at that huge hole naturally in the middle, and that creates an angle for the blocks. A nice read by Childers, and boy, he was a half step from busting that thing out.
First quarter here in Detroit, an interesting
That's the end of the first quarter.
Duke getting on the board first. NIU trying to get a little bit tricky. Pinned back in its own end zone. A 4th down pass gone awry. The Blue Devils add to their lead at the end of 1 quarter. 14-0 Duke. Duke and Northern Illinois in the Quick Lane Bowl. Mike Cousins, Ray Bentley, and Allison Williams reporting from the field. So here's the best starting field position of the day for NIU. Most of the time they've been starting back inside their own 20. Childers fakes the give, and he's going deep. Short ball, and it's caught. Pulled in by Spencer Tears.
That's just throw it up and hope my guy gets it. They call it a 50-50 ball, and that one might have been 49-51, but it didn't matter because the receiver, Tears, got his eyes back, and nobody else did, and he found that ball.
Childers to Tears for 45 yards. All the way down to the Duke 25-yard line.
See if that opens up this Duke defense at all.
And a big hole through the left side, headed toward the end zone. Trey Harbison gives the Huskies a chance to cut the Duke lead in half. A run from 25 yards out.
You see it happen so often where all of a sudden they throw it over your head. The next play, the defense gets gashed on a run. And that's a heck of a block by Luke Scheidele, the center, keeping the flow of the defense from getting over into the hole. And then Harbison just, I mean, no one even touched him. He just had to hit the gas pedal and away he went. That was a nice little drive. All of a sudden, that offense woke up by taking the deep shot.
Showing exactly how proficient it can be when it's in the right gear. Christian Hagan with the extra point has now made 92 straight. Childers under pressure helped the drive get going, finding Tears downfield. All the Huskies needed was an explosive play. As Harbison, the former Virginia Cavalier, scampers to the end zone. Return from the 7-yard line out across the 20 for the running back Sean Wilson to get Duke set up here on this drive. Jones, an immediate pitch, and Wilson takes the carry.
Yeah, this is a play that I'm seeing more and more prevalent in college football. It's a toss read where the quarterback is going to read the end man on the line, and if that guy goes after the back, the quarterback will keep it. If he doesn't, then he'll pitch it, and it happens quickly.
Second down, trying to get a couple the hard way, and they don't. Sutton Smith leading the FBS in sacks and tackles for a loss. Helps lead the push. If he gets today 1 sack and 1.5 tackles for a loss, he'll join just Terrell Suggs, who played at Arizona State, and Jason Babin from Western Michigan. It's the only 3 players to have done that since they started tracking individual defensive stats in 2000. Time in the pocket, ball pops loose and falls incomplete. Going for Chris Taylor, and it's 4th down and 2.
Yeah, apparently it hit him in a bad spot, right in the hands. That's a good throw from the quarterback. Had to put a little heat on it, maybe too much. He was, the receiver Taylor was pretty close to him, but it just bounced off of him. And that's the one that's kind of a coach killer where it really drives him crazy.
Where he said, hey, look, I came up with the exact right play. You guys just couldn't execute it.
Nailed it.
Much easier kick this time for Holmquist as Embry gets swallowed up on the return to the 31. A 2-play touchdown drive. Last time they had the ball for NIU. Childers wanted to run. He escaped Giles Harris, but the rest of the defense closes in on him for a short gain. So no Jordan Huff, the leading rusher today. No Chad Beebe, one of their top receivers, out with an abdominal injury, as Allison detailed at the beginning of the broadcast, and Shane Wyman as well, their leading tight end, leading the team with 7 touchdown catches. Plenty of time here, and another deep shot, a man wide open downfield. Jawan Wesley, he's gone, running like he's in Pamplona into the end zone from 67 yards.
With the Bulls, no less. That was a case of Michael Carter, who had the coverage. He slipped on the double move trying to restart his motor, and there was nobody left after he got past him. See, he got to him, missed the tackle, and then Wesley just took a nice little stroll into the end zone. But the double move caused the slip by Carter, and that allowed the play to get open.
Oh, how things have changed in an instant here in Detroit, down 14-0 after an ill-advised fake punt from their own end zone. And all of a sudden, a couple of big plays have the 8-win Huskies right back in it. 14-all in the Quick Lane Bowl. It's football, it's bowling. This is the Fowling Warehouse in Hamtramck, about 10 minutes from the stadium here in Detroit. Now, you can have a couple of pops when you're playing. Imagine how difficult it would be then if there's real football players and it was tough for them.
Yeah, I would like to give it a try. Just, I don't know about the pops and all that, but I'd love to give it a run.
What do you think, Allison? How'd you fare?
Well, I would give both a try, personally. I didn't get to fare at all because I didn't get to play. But the guys that I talked to that did play absolutely loved it. It was hilarious. The first thing each one of them brought up when I asked them about their time in Detroit was the Fowling. And you got to hear how competitive they were. Duke quarterback Daniel Jones, not pleased they were not able to win the trophy. But he said it's because they didn't have their best guys out there because he wasn't able to play in the finals.
Of course.
High throw and right to the sticks. They get more than 10. Daniel Helm, a redshirt junior from Illinois, makes his second catch of the day and goes for 17 yards.
Nice little scheme there from Coach Cutt and his offensive coordinator, Zach Roper. They ran the corner deep and then settled that tight end in his wake.
Jones starts it out across the 40-yard line. Back-to-back completions. G.J. ramming. Well, Duke in the first quarter scored 2 touchdowns. And so far here, approaching the midway point of the second, they've not been able to get the job done. Until that point, it had just been 3 and outs.
I think Duke is going to throw the football around, and that will open up the running game because the running game hasn't been great thus far.
Britton Brown thinking he got away, but Juwan Johnson had a hand on him as the knee came down at the 45-yard line.
Definitely, I saw the right elbow hit the ground, and that'll make you down. And then, of course, obviously, if the knee hits the ground, you're done. I think the knee stayed up, actually, and it was the elbow that got him. Pretty good balance.
Third down and 3. Quarterback wants to do the job himself. Jones moves the sticks.
Nice decision by Jones because Northern Illinois, they blitzed Draquan Brown right off the edge where that fake was going to. He saw that coming, pulled it, and was able to power his way for that first down. Good read.
With a blitz, tall in the pocket, and a one-hopper over the middle of the field for Jones, who comes out of a very athletic family. His oldest sister played field hockey at Davidson. His younger brother Bates is a freshman forward on the Davidson basketball team. His youngest sister Ruthie, she might be the most athletic of them all, a big-time goalkeeper who's already committed to play soccer at Duke.
Athletic family.
Toss to the edge as Brown runs right through Jalen Embry, who did bring him down. Another Detroit native out of Martin Luther King High School and playing in place of the injured Shawan Lurie, a senior. Another guy that we haven't really mentioned who's out today for NIU.
Yeah, Lurie, all MAC cornerback, but had to have wrist surgery at the end of the season. They're missing him as well.
Last third down was a run by Jones. He goes through the middle again, and another first down as he lowers the shoulder into Michael Allen.
Northern Illinois, they stacked their nose tackle Kramer as a linebacker. You see 55 there, and he makes the wrong decision and then gets chopped down on a good block from Zach Harmon, and that opened it up for Jones.
First and 10 for the Blue Devils, looking to retake their lead and taking their shot to the end zone. Touchdown, T.J. Ramming on a 33-yard throw from Daniel Jones.
And the key to that one was the protection. And in particular, the blocking of Sutton Smith. He's on the left side at the bottom. Smith is over the tight end, and he's going to come around the edge, and they do a wonderful job of pushing him down, allowing the time for Jones to make the perfect throw.
Landing the deep ball right into the arms of his top receiver, Ramming, who's been consistent ever since he walked on campus. But the extra point is no good. Again, Austin Parker, the primary kicker, was kicked off the team earlier this year on December 8th, an academic policy violation. Holmquist had only kicked one PAT in the penultimate game of the regular season. And so his missed extra point makes the lead just 6. The Blue Devils by 6 back here in Detroit. Let's go down to the sidelines and Allison with a special guest.
Thank you, Mike. I am here with former Lions wide receiver, one of my favorites growing up here in Michigan, and current Quick Lane Bull ambassador, Herman Moore. Herman, I know you got a chance to talk to both of these teams last week. What was your message to some of these guys?
Well, it was basically being men of character and also being accountable for your actions. And there's a lot that you're going to be faced with in life, and just making sure that they understand that the choices that you make will impact you in one way or another.
As an ambassador for the Quick Lane Bowl, you have a pretty special job coming up at the half. What do you get to do?
Well, we've been going at it for a few months. You get to nominate a veteran. We're awarding 5 $10,000 scholarships to be used towards automotive maintenance and repair certification as part of our Trading One uniform for another program. So we're pretty excited about that.
Herman, thank you so much for the time. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Mike?
Allison, the 11-year veteran of the Detroit Lions, also spent a year of his career with the Giants as well, has been a great ambassador in the time leading up to the bowl game here in Detroit. These guys got to spend a lot of time here in Detroit in the days preceding this evening's action, and from all accounts really have enjoyed their experience.
Yeah, and we talked to Art Chase, the SID for Duke, and he said, you know, we've been to four bowls in the last 5 years. This was the one that was the best one as far as the right mix of activities and downtime and all that. He said they had a wonderful time here.
1st and 10 with the Huskies looking to answer. Nice tackle by Singleton to tackle Blake. And a part of that getting ready for playing in this bowl game was getting to practice on this field, where in so many other cases the practices are held elsewhere and not on the game surface.
Right, it didn't help him on this little jet sweep here, though. As Singleton, he's been making plays all over the field today, and he shot through and got that one. Making just his 2nd start. You mentioned Jeremy McDuffie got injured, and so they moved Saxton over to the other safety and moved Singleton up into that position, and he's been really good.
This to Marcus Jones, the running back. It's the first time today that somebody other than Harbison has seen snaps in the backfield with Childers in the absence of their leading rusher, Jordan Huff. And now it's 3rd and 11, where the Huskies have gone 0 for 5 today.
Watch Gilbert make this kick tackle, basically. I mean, this is just a trip, if you will. He knew it was coming and whipped the legs out there. That actually should be a foul.
Yeah. He got up and celebrated. No penalty on the play. So inside 5 minutes before halftime. Third and 11. Under pressure, a flick of the wrist. DJ Brown dances up the sideline, does not get the yardage needed for a 1st down.
Well, I think Childers missed this one. He had his tight end open on a stack route at the sticks. Watch 89 on the left side of your screen, Mitchell Brinkman. He's going to run up. He's going to beat that coverage. Now, look at how open he is. That's a 1st down. I think as Childers develops, he'll get his eyes to where they need to be and find that.
Just the 8th start of his career after taking over those duties back on October 14th. A nice punt angled toward the sidelines by the freshman Matt Ferentz for the Huskies. Ramming picks up 3 on the toss to the perimeter as the clock goes inside of 4 minutes before the half.
And that was Juwan Johnson, number 7, that linebacker we've talked about several times. That one, he ran to the edge and made the tackle. He's all over the field.
Jones with a pump, now tests the sidelines and delivers it beautifully to Ramming just inside the defender as he steps out of bounds.
That was a big time throw right there. It had touch on it. It was a split-second decision. As he pulled the ball down, he saw that corner jump up and he laid it out perfectly. That's a big time throw. I like that one.
It looked good, and it gets him inside the 40. Pressure from the backside, a fastball to the edge. Jones stands tall and is able to make something out of nothing with Sean Wilson.
I've seen Jones do this on film several occasions. So good at knowing where the check down is. So he's looking deep. He wants that deep one. That's not there. He checks the intermediate one. That's not there. All right, time's up. He knows where he has an outlet, and he drops it out to the edge.
Wilson through the middle. You know what's been a fun battle to watch too, as we saw that replay of Jones' throw, has been between Evan Lyle, the right tackle, and Sutton Smith. Lyle, that grad transfer from Ohio State, a very welcome addition this year.
Yeah, them two have been locked up and going at it pretty good. They caught Northern Illinois in a cross over blitz, and that's why they popped that one through.
Under pressure again, a throw to the 15-yard line, a sliding grab for Taylor, who's been a frequent target of Jones in the first half.
What made that play is Taylor coming back to the football. He's able to close it down, and watch how far he comes back to get the ball. That's almost impossible to defend.
On 1st and 10 with Wilson as his lead blocker, Jones tucks and runs. Score here would be big for Duke with under 2 minutes to go in the half because they won the toss and deferred. So they're set up to receive the ball to start the third quarter.
And what they want to try to do if they can is not leave Northern Illinois a whole bunch of time at the end of this.
Blue Devils can still pick up another first down inside the red zone.
Love to go to the tight end in this area.
They drop it off for Wilson, the running back, with a big blocker in front, and he ramrods his way into the end zone. Touchdown Duke with Lyle, the right tackle, leading the way.
And I tell you what, Albert Smalls had no chance with Lyle coming down the field after him. You're talking about a 6'7", 310 guy going after a 6-footer that weighs just under 200. And that's not going to work out too well for the little guy very often.
Grad transfer from Ohio State, who played in all 13 games for the Buckeyes last year.
They're going to go for 2 here, it looks like.
Yep, after that missed extra point and try and extend their lead to 28-14.
I don't like this. To me, you get your points when you can get your points. Chasing points that's a dead end, baby. Unless you make it.
Then it looks great. Back of the end zone. And the pass into the arms of Jawan Johnson instead.
Correction, the end of the first half.
So it's Duke 26, Northern Illinois 14, with the Blue Devils set to get the ball to start the third quarter. It's time for our halftime report, and we go to the studio to get you set up around the rest of Bowl Mania with Adnan. Welcome back to the Quick Lane Bowl here at Ford Field in Detroit as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. 26-14 is our score at the half, with Duke looking for win number 7 on the year out in front of Northern Illinois at 8-4. Mike Cousins, Ray Bentley, Allison Williams, glad to have you back here with us, and thanks for making us a part of your holiday season. Duke, the winners of the opening coin toss, they deferred, and that turned into a couple of 3-and-outs on the opening drives for Northern Illinois. And now the Huskies kick it away, and a short kick as Wilson comes up to get on top of it. Thanks so much for being with us. Mike and Ray up here in the booth. Game of runs so far, 14 one way, 14 the other way for NIU, and Duke with the last 12.
Right, so it's Northern Illinois' turn, right? And to do so, their quarterback Childers has to keep throwing the ball deep. That's what opened up their offense a little bit. For Duke, I think the short passes and then mix in the run, that offense is matriculating along pretty good.
It was a nice first half throwing the ball for Jones, and the quarterback, sophomore, their leading rusher in the first half as well, as he went for 28 yards. Now he rolls out, throws incomplete on first down. It'll be 2nd and 10, and that allows us to visit with Allison.
Hey there, guys. Well, you know, NIU's defense has Sutton Smith, who leads the country in sacks, but he's been held in check so far. A big reason for that, head coach Rod Carey said, is what Duke has been able to do, the attention they're paying to him, how they're sliding their offensive line. But he said he's gotten close. The biggest thing they can do to try and get him set loose is to be better on early down, so they put Duke in some passing situations.
And exactly what they've got here on 2nd down and 10. Run off to the left side and a broken tackle for Wilson. Huge space out toward midfield where he's finally cornered.
Yeah, he ran right through the arm tackle from Jalen Embry, the safety. Watch number 3 come downhill, fills the gap, but he doesn't bring his legs with him. And if you're going to try an arm tackle Sean Wilson, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
31 yards on the run for Wilson, who surges past Jones to be the Blue Devils' leading rusher today. Pass rush slow to get there. First tackler misses, and then the throw goes high out of bounds. Bobby Jones, the outside linebacker, nearly brought Daniel Jones down.
Keeping up with the Joneses on that one. This is another example of Daniel Jones knowing where people are. He was still in the pocket, but he knew he had a receiver on a check down off to that right side, so he could throw it away over there.
Jones with the option, he keeps it and goes shoulder first out of bounds. That's another first down.
That was supposed to be an RPO. He was going to try to throw that football, and he lost the handle on it when he started to scramble, and so he just tucked it away and took off. And they have done a nice job of stymieing, they being Duke, stymieing this Husky attack, which they usually play on the other team's side of the football.
Tackle finally made at the end of the play by McKelty Williams, the safety. Jones continues to have his way.
Yeah, and you know, the key to stopping a running quarterback on this zone read stuff is eye discipline for the defense. And right now, they're not, somebody who's got quarterback is not showing up. I don't know exactly who it is. And then when they do get there, they're missing tackles.
Yep, 3 of them on that run for Jones.
That was the bugaboo that got him towards the end of the season. The missed tackles was the... We talked to Kevin Kane, the defensive coordinator, and he must have said missed tackles a half dozen times. So we got the point.
Bothered him quite a bit. And they gave up some big plays against Central Michigan in that finale as they surrendered a halftime advantage where they had held the Chippewas to negative yardage. For a much improved defense, statistically speaking, this year, they've missed 18 tackles today.
That is a lot. If you miss, if you keep it down around 5, you had a really good game. You get over 10 and you need some work.
That right there is one of the bigger impact plays Sutton Smith has made today.
Take a look at Smith. He's got the quarterback, but the strength of Daniel Jones, most guys would have been sacked. He's strong enough to hum it out there and at least live to fight another down.
NIU 6th best in the country on getting stops on 3rd down this year. Fastball over the middle, tight end, a safety net. Davis Copenhaver, the junior from California, first down.
And Northern Illinois played a cover 2. And a lot of times you go cover 2, that tight end in the middle, that's a hard cover, and that's exactly what they got right there.
With the empty backfield, it's Brown around the edge, couldn't stay in bounds.
Looks like Jones fixed that throw, though. That's the one that he's been missing on a little bit, the quick flare to the edge. He threw this one perfectly, but they couldn't quite outflank the NIU defense.
Now 2nd and goal from the 7. Prime spot for tight ends, who have caught 4 of the 6 passes thrown their way today. Through the middle, the run continues to be the answer. Just short for Brown, angling for the goal line.
And I thought Julian Santos, the left guard, did an outstanding job. He really got 2 blocks. He's going to get a help on the nose with the center, and then he comes up and takes out the linebacker, and that's what opened up that hole in the middle. Nice job by Julian Santos, a sophomore guard.
That may well have been a touchdown.
The runner crossed the goal line prior to the fumble. The ruling is a touchdown.
Make your touchdown call now.
Touchdown? It's a little bit more subdued.
Yeah.
32-14. The score with 6:58 left here in the third quarter. I could have just let you do it for practice.
Yeah, well.
That was a very quick no from you.
Yeah.
You're very comfortable in the analyst role.
I did. I used to do your job, and the problem was it was too much of a job. Me, I'm having fun. I'm the guy in the back of the bus throwing spitwads around, and you're driving it. So.
Yes, this is a very arduous job to sit in a chair and talk about sports.
Tell nobody.
Well, it's been an interesting day for Holmquist. He and the starter here.
An interesting note on him, he's hearing impaired. One of 3 college football players that are hearing impaired in our country.
Yeah, he wears hearing aids normally, doesn't wear them in action. He likes what he sees. This team extends its lead, 33-14. Quick Lane Bowl involved in the season of giving with Gleaners Community Food Bank that distributes food for more than 90,000 meals a day around Southeast Michigan. And the last 3 years with this game, efforts have helped to feed over 26,000 families. Mike Cousins, Ray Bentley, Allison Williams back here with you in Detroit, the Quick Lane Bowl. And a touchdown for Duke makes their lead 33-14. So they've gone on an extended run here. See if the Huskies can get something on the kick return. They've only averaged 14 yards per return today, and that's fed into some of their tough starting field position. DJ Brown breaks the longest one of the evening for NIU, and they'll get rolling right near midfield. And this is about the spot on the field where they do like to take their deep shots. That was too much. But the defense perhaps was a little bit too much as well on Spencer Tiers, guarded by the very tough Gilbert.
And I want to see that again because I didn't notice any particular contact. Might have had a hand on him.
Pass interference. Defense, number 28. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
The other part of that ball was thrown very high. I don't know that thing was even close to being catchable. Nonetheless, move the chains. Northern Illinois trying to respond. Still don't see it on that angle, but.
How about a grab of the shoe there for Singleton, bringing Blake down. By the way, that penalty was just the second to hit the turf today.
Yeah, it's been a real clean game in that regard, and it's kind of rare, actually, when you think about all the time that they had off. We've seen some mistakes in the kicking game today, but very clean in regards to penalties.
Childers at the sideline. Feet inbounds for Spencer Tiers. So when you said you would expect a few more penalties today, maybe penalties of aggression from having not played for so long?
Yeah, a little more. I'm thinking of procedural things, little things like false starts, offsides, those kind of mind busts.
Harbison trying to plunge through the line on third down. He doesn't get it, so it's fourth down, and with a gap of 33-14, no question about it, the Huskies keep the offense on the field.
And it was Joe Giles Harris, the big inside linebacker, stepped into that hole, had some help from Carter, and they got him down. This is a critical play for Northern Illinois if they want to stay in this ballgame. They got an unbalanced line into the boundary. Now they flop it.
Tiers and Blake, the receivers. And Blake goes in motion on fourth down. Shoulders the rollout, looking for the throwback. It's too high, off the hands of Crawford, and another turnover on downs.
They did the old sneak the tight end through. Actually, it was the wing. Tight end stayed in and blocked. They snuck the wing through on the backside, trying for a little throwback, and the ball was just a little hot. Duke 33, Northern Illinois 14. 19-point lead, close to the fourth quarter here. Time to grind it out and eat up some clock.
After we saw Jackson, the freshman, running back on the last drive, they go back to Wilson, their most experienced out of the backfield, and the senior has the run for the final play of quarter number 3. It was 14-0 Duke to start the game. The Huskies answered with 14 of their own. And since then, it's been all Duke as the Blue Devils have 15 minutes standing in front of them and what could be a decisive victory in Detroit. Welcome back to Detroit and Ford Field. It's the Quick Lane Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. Mike Cousins, Ray Bentley, and Allison Williams down on the field with 15 minutes to play as the Blue Devils of Duke look to finish with a winning record, 33-14 over the Huskies of Northern Illinois. NIU kicked off their year in a big-time way. Early in the season, a win over Nebraska, which was pretty impactful on both sides. It gives a lot of confidence for NIU, but how about what that did to turn the tides for both the administration and the coaching situation for Nebraska?
Opened the door, so to speak.
Yeah, very much so, with Scott Frost going back to his alma mater, leaving UCF. So Jones tucks and runs here to open the fourth quarter with the Blue Devils in pursuit of 7-6, which would lock them up for a 4th winning season in the last 5 years, save last year, and it would be the best stretch for Duke since 4 out of 5 winning seasons between 1960 and 1964.
And a testament to their character. Sitting at 4-6, they were given an 11% chance to win out and make the bowl season, and that's exactly what they did. And in both of those games, they trailed by double digits in the first half, and they shut the opponents out. No touchdowns in the second half in either of those games, and really rescued the season.
Copenhagen's been a frequent target today. Their offensive line coach, Marcus Johnson, left for Mississippi State to go work for new head coach Joe Moorhead. And so Jim Bridge, the special teams and tight ends coach, took over that role here during bowl season.
He bridged the gap, if you will.
And I will. Yes, absolutely. As will Sean Wilson for another first down.
Some people won't. You will. I appreciate that.
You know, I will boldly declare I don't want to be friends with anyone who won't.
All right. Glad we got that stuff.
33-14 with Duke in the lead. And so far, every second of the fourth quarter has belonged to them. Testing out the right side and bouncing off a tackle. It's Jones edging ever closer toward 100 yards. And this is an impressive performance for him, considering that against Wake Forest in the season finale, he threw for a career-high 346 yards, and now he's doing it on the ground today.
Yeah, and Northern Illinois has given that to him throughout the day. How many times have we seen him go around the edge, and there's not a defender that you could name that's assigned to him, at least by looking at it. If it's working, keep running it.
Does continue to work. Wilson down to the 28-yard line.
Yeah, and his quickness made Antonio Jones-Davis miss the tackle. Jones-Davis stepped right up in where he's supposed to be, but Wilson's just too fleet of foot. He couldn't run it down.
Duke controlling this game from the beginning, going up 14-0. They've now run 30 more plays, 76-46, and the Huskies. And surprising to see that the defense for the Huskies has been run down like this via the run game by Duke, because they were 11th best in the country in terms of rushing yards per game, and that's their best number since 1963.
And they've been pretty stout, except for stopping the quarterback. Really, to me, that's been the Achilles heel in terms of stopping the run. done pretty well on everybody but the quarterback.
John Wilson, ball carrier, to be 27.
When I first saw Sean Wilson running around with that number 29 on, he reminded me of Eric Dickerson, who wore 29 back in the day. Kind of a little bit of an upright running form. I used to chase Dickerson around. That was no fun.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you?
Yeah, great. I'm sitting by you now.
Across the middle and caught. The tight end Helm. Him and Copenhaver have been the unsung heroes of Duke's offense tonight.
That's just sitting in the pocket and playing darts. And big bodied tight ends, those make nice targets.
13th play of the drive from the 13-yard line. Maybe got to the 12.
And this is a classic drive here from Duke. The mix of the run and the pass. And, I mean, they're eating up clock big time. They have basically taken control of this game across the front. And their offensive line, Lyle, Harmon, Davis, Santos, and Bradner. Game balls for everybody.
Now switching it up as Quentin Harris is in at quarterback. Not uncommon to see him in short yardage situations. That's his 28th carry of the year, and he's played in 10 of their 13 games.
Yeah, they'll bring him in on short yardage and then also in the red zone where the quarterback run becomes primary. It's a lot harder to get yards down in this condensed area, and if you let the quarterback carry the ball, it buys you another hat for blocking. They just rolled in a couple of extra linemen. Chambers and Baker come in at the guard positions.
Run off to the left side, and he gets down to the 7, maybe the 6-yard line. It's a good sign to run to behind the redshirt senior Gabe Brandner out of Blythewood, South Carolina, who's been a 3-year starter and a guy who's been very active with community service as well, working with Habitat for Humanity, National Inclusion Project.
Willie Holmquist is going to get a shot at making a field goal here.
See if a big day for him can continue from 24 yards.
Right down the middle.
Mom and Dad happy for the field goal make. BC and Iowa square off tomorrow as well.
It should be a good ball game.
Yeah, Iowa has not had great bowl success as of late. Boston College has been one of the better rushing teams in the country. Their last 6 games, over 200 yards on the ground in each one, behind A.J. Dillon, the freshman, second leading rusher in the league. So 7:30 to go in the 4th, and let's go down to the sidelines and check in with Allison again. Hey, Allison.
One term you'll hear a lot with this Duke defense is smart swarming. Basically, they want their defensive linemen to swarm, but to do so within their assignments and fits. And right now, coaches feel like they're not doing a good job of that. D-line coach Ben Albert told his guys, you're just running all over the place. You have to stay in your lane. You're beating people, but you have to remember your assignments and work together as a 4-man unit to bring the quarterback down.
Yeah, that silly swarming does not work, Allison. I promise you. You got to be smart about it.
NIU went 14 unanswered points. You've got 14-14, but in the 40 minutes that have followed, it's been Duke with 22 straight points, and that'll prove to be the difference here in the 2017 Quick Lane Bowl. Big play a little bit too little, too late, with Blake towing the sideline.
That was a really nice run by Blake, though. Could have used that earlier. A little dance along the sidelines and made some people miss and kept fighting. That's what I want to see. They're going to find out and take another look to see if Blake stepped out of bounds when he doubled back. You get to be the judge yourself here. Boom.
Yep, out of bounds.
After review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Be 2nd down and 8. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1:30. 1:30 on the clock. Thank you.
And I know the officials have to go by the letter of the law. That was just one of the things on my holiday wish list that did not come true this year.
I get you.
Now 90 seconds left. Childers unloads deep into single coverage off the fingertips of DJ Brown.
I'll tell you what, I think Michael Carter got away with one there. He hit Brown before that ball game came in. He never got his head around to look. And that should have been a flag. It was all over him. Did get his head around late, but after he had initiated the contact. The way they've been calling it today, I'm surprised they didn't throw that one. But maybe they heard your diatribe about getting out of here.
Oh, now it's a diatribe.
Yes. Oh, I went right to it.
I prefer soliloquy. It's a lot more graceful that way.
I had the undertones of the diatribe, bro. I'm telling you. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Carter, who they targeted on that deep throw that ended up incomplete, one of the guys that NIU said they wanted to go after on David Cutcliffe's squad.
Yeah, that didn't work out so well for him. Carter played extremely well. And this is just his second start. And he stepped up. Senior, just getting an opportunity to help the team at the end of his career. That's a great story.
Too tall from Childers on 4th down. That was the most difficult down of the day for Northern Illinois. Not able to convert on 4th downs, whether it was a fake punt or a field goal snap gone awry. And they are just trying to keep something alive near the end of the game with Duke. They've got their name on the front of the trophy already, and the Blue Devils are now just 1:14 away from locking up their 4th winning season in the last 5 years.
Who you got winning it all?
I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
You stole my thunder. That's who I'm going with. I have to rethink it now.
Why? Because you picked the same answer as me.
Yeah.
You implied that was a bad choice.
Well, yeah, that was my diatribe.
Now, why do you have Oklahoma?
I just think the way Baker Mayfield's playing right now, the mojo they got going, I think they're going to handle Georgia. And then I like Baker Mayfield in the title game. He's a big game player. I'm anxious to see it. We'll see what happens. I know it's more than one guy, but that guy's pretty important and he's fun to watch.
And he did lead college football this year in completion percentage, 71% completion rate. Pretty impressive.
You just got to be able to play enough defense. That's the only question mark I would have against the Sooners.
So you and I have Oklahoma over Georgia, Clemson and Alabama. The winner of that one's going to be the first team to go to 3 straight title games since the Seminoles of Florida State did it 98 to 2000.
That's big time. To be able to maintain that, and I know on SportsCenter tonight they talked about a Dabo Swinney interview about the second time being a harder trip, harder road to take, and I can tell you from experience, getting back, repeating, that's a lot harder than winning that first one.
Duke walking out of Detroit a winner, 7-6 to cap off this campaign that featured a 6-game losing streak after a 4-0 start, and Northern Illinois is done for the year at 8-5, a 36-14 final score. You can stay tuned on ESPN3 for the trophy presentation down on the field as the Blue Devils will celebrate. And coming up next year on ESPN, it's the Cactus Bowl, Kansas State and UCLA. We thank you for being with us here tonight from Detroit. On behalf of our entire crew, Allison Williams down on the field, and my partner, Ray Bentley. I'm Mike Cousins saying so long, and we'll send you back to the studio. Here's Adnan.
Thanks, Ray.